How everybody doing? My name is Christopher Brown from Sports Talk with Chris. And right now I have my reaction to this crazy game. Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Dallas Cowboys 23-9. Now my pregame predictions, I had this score being around 28-16. I expected a little bit more out of Dallas defense. About Dallas offense. I think I forgot how good our defense really are. It really is. And a lot of people, let me just address some things right now. Dallas Cowboys fans, I do not care for excuses. I do not. Because as I stated in my pregame show, when my Eagles had their entire offense hurt, when I wanted to say anything, they said no excuses, next man up. They said, we don't want to hear that. It still happened. They said, we don't want to hear that, next man up. Dak Prescott gets hurt. They said, my starting quarterback. But I say, but. And they said, well, the quarterback, Andy Dalton goes down. I'm just hearing excuses. And I'm thinking to myself, well, when my entire offense was down, I couldn't even say a word without you saying, too many excuses. We don't want to hear any excuses. So when your team is injured, I'm supposed to have sympathy for you because, your third string quarterback is in there. Next man up, right? That's the mentality in the NFL, right? The next man up. That's the mentality y'all told me to have about my team, so I think you need to hold yourself to the same standards. But then I forgot who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Dallas Cowboys fans. They're not going to hold themselves to the same standards. They're the Mr. Excuses. This team is full of excuses. The fans full of excuses. Let's dive into this game. 23-9 was the final score. Let's look at Dallas first before I go on to my Eagles. Ben DiNucci, to me, didn't play a terrible game. 21 for 40, $180, 0 touchdowns, but he also had 0 interceptions, 4 sacks. He didn't play a terrible game. If I had to grade him, I'd say probably a C. This is why. Who's making plays for him? I've seen so many wide receivers drop passes. Then at the end of the day, his offensive line could not block our dominant defensive line. And I don't want to hear anything about injuries to the O-line because my quarterback was sacked the same amount of times. But if I bring up injuries to the O-line, yes, having excuses. So don't tell me your O-line was injured where the 4 starters that was supposed to start at the beginning of the year are not there right now. So don't talk to me about injured O-linemen. Don't talk to me about injuries at all. Both the quarterbacks were sacked 4 times. Reason why they both struggled. Reason why, yes, Ben DiNucci struggled. That's what I'm talking about right now. You look at the wide receivers. Yes, some passes were overthrown. Yes, some passes were underthrown. But I seen about 4 or 5 drops by, some of the elites. Seen Michael Gallup drop some. I seen Amari Cooper drop some. I seen Ezekiel Elliott drop some. So at the end of the day, Ben DiNucci, for everything it's worth, third string quarterback, Sunday Night Football, first time starting, he could have played a lot worse. Yes, he should have threw the ball out. But at the end of the day, first time starting, he coming from college right now, mid-season, the biggest adjustment is, 1, you're able to break a lot of sacks in college, not in the NFL. 2, the internal clocking ahead might not be the same, especially when your offensive line is injured going up against a great, dominant defensive line. He didn't have time to sit there and wait for people to get open. These coverage sacks, were crazy. You look at that forced fumble we had, took it, 60, 70 plus yards? He got smacked. Why did he get smacked? Team didn't pick up the blitz. Why? Because, we blitzed at the right time. But let's keep it on to Dallas. Had 133 yards on the ground. Gimmick plays. I mean, that's what they had to do when you have a third string quarterback. That it showed like they didn't have a lot of faith. You look at their first drive, they were able to move the ball. Everything after that, it was very stagnant, Yes, they ran the ball a lot more. Finally, 35 times. It was about time they ran the ball this much. But you look at Zeke, 19 carries, 63 yards, 3.3 yards a carry, starting running back. Yes, he had some big runs. He had an 11-yard run, but we kind of contained him. You look at Tony Pollard, he was 7 for 40, 5.7 yards per attempt. He did his thing. Ben DiNucci, he's a lot more mobile than I knew. He had 22 yards. CeeDee Lamb was your gimmick play. Listen, this team, they couldn't do anything against this very, very good defense, and we still had injuries coming up on the defense with, 2 of our corners going down. So, like I said, no excuses, right? I'm just having the same energy you had with me. Looking at the receivers, Michael Gallup was his favorite target. He had 61 yards. You look at the tight end, he gave you 53. CeeDee Lamb, he had 27. Of course, when it's your first time starting, as soon as the game starts, whoever you're connecting with more is going to be your favorite. His favorites was Michael Gallup. His favorite was, Schultz. I don't think that's the problem when it's his first game starting. He's not going to be able to fill out each receiver. For a young quarterback, they're going to, gravitate towards the receiver or tight end they're connecting with more. Yes, I feel like, Amari Cooper, their best wide receiver, should have got more targets. He got 5. But at the end of the day, you got to understand the circumstances. So it's just strange all around. Their defense, their defense, they was okay. Their defense played a hell of a game. I feel like Carson Wentz gave them 2 picks, but they, still made those 2 plays. So shout out to them. 2 forced fumbles. That first one, that was wild. That's on Carson Wentz. But that second one was just a very, very good defensive play. But I believe it was Sean Lee and that entire defense. You had him in a spy. You had the little stunt. It was a miscommunication inside the guard box. Left that wide open. I will say this, if Carson Wentz got that ball off, it's a first down, but he didn't. Why? Because Lee made that play. He made that play. So they had a, very, very good defensive game, but their offense, 0 points in the second half. All their points came off field goals. Why? Because his defense was dominant. Like I said, no excuses, right? So I don't want to hear anything about a third-string quarterback. I definitely don't want to hear anything about an offensive line. When you have a star running back, a very good backup, and 3 dominant weapons. Save all the excuses for somebody else that wants to hear them. So over here, I don't. So now let's talk about my Eagles. Let's talk about Carson Wentz. Let's just get the elephant out the room. Let's address the elephant in the room, I should say. Carson Wentz, I'm very disappointed in you. I didn't think we was going to put up 50. I didn't think he was going to have, all of a sudden jump to being the most accurate top quarterback in the game. But Carson Wentz has to learn how to throw the ball away. 2 interceptions. All of him trying to do something he shouldn't. All of him trying to force the ball to people that he has no business trying to force them to. No, that second one, he put too much air on the ball. It's windy outside. So, that's just a bad, it's a bad quarterback decision. The first one, you're trying to force something to a receiver that you shouldn't be forcing it to. Interception. So it's like Carson Wentz. Gotta stretch out, my bad. It's like Carson Wentz. Yeah. I was, angry throughout this game. Very angry because, Carson Wentz played. Those 4 sacks, some of them could have been avoidable. Those 2, fumbles he had, both could have been avoidable. Especially that first one, throw the ball away. That second one, I don't blame that on him. Like I said, that's a miscommunication inside the guard box, but it was at a point where I was getting a lot of text messages saying, put Jalen Hurts in. He needs to start. This is why I don't really want to put Jalen Hurts in. This is a game that we needed to win. At the end of the day, I know Carson Wentz, fourth quarter, I trust him. I do. So, I'm not benching Wentz anytime soon. Yes, he has to improve. He do. 2 interceptions, 4 total turnovers he had. That's just bad. I know you're getting sacked the most, you're getting hit the most. But you're still, a lot of these turnovers are on you, especially these interceptions. This dude is forcing the ball when he shouldn't be. There's no reason to force the ball. He needs to learn how to throw the ball away. If he wants to be a successful quarterback long term. If he wants to, be a successful quarterback short term. Him forcing the ball, it might be a time where he does it too many times. And we do put Jalen Hurts in to be the starter. At this point, that's how I'm looking at it. I love Carson Wentz. I think he has a lot of great attributes. But, so a lot of those great attributes are hurting him right now. That's, looking for that money play. We don't have the receivers that force it all the time, too. We don't have a guy that I feel like can go get it all the time to be forcing it. So stop doing it, which he's not going to do it because I've been saying this for, he should stop doing it for weeks. I don't understand why they're not having these conversations in the house. Nothing has been changing, but it has to change. Right now, we're first in the division. 3-4-1. Listen, the division is ours to lose. He has to play better. Let's look at the running game. Boston Scott had the game I knew he would be. Had the game I knew he could have if we established the run. 15 carries, 70 yards. Boston Scott had a very, very good game. Corey Clement, the 5 carries, he did give you 25 yards. To me, I think he dropped 1 or 2 passes. But, he had a good game nonetheless. Our running game, we had 119 yards on the ground, 26 carries. I feel like we should establish the run a little bit more. But at the end of the day, we got a victory, but moving forward, I want us to establish the run more. Moving forward, Boston Scott needs to get more carries, even get Corey Clement more carries. And the runs we do call and play calls in general, I'm going to get more to that at the end, has to be better. You look at the receivers, who do you think was leading the receiver? Leading receiver tonight, Travis Fulgham. I mean, we found a gem right here, a diamond in the rough. Didn't work out with the Lions, didn't work out with the Packers. Comes here, all of our receivers is hurt. He comes and flourishes. And yes, when Alshon Jeffrey, whenever he decides to come back, Fulgham should still be the number one. When I look at Jalen Reagor, that last touchdown towards the end of the game, the dude punched it out. Was a good defensive play. He had a drop, but I'm impressed by Jalen Reagor. He has that cast on. It's harder to catch. That's just the truth. No excuses. He should have still caught that, but I'm not regretting this pick at all. He's going to be a guy that's a playmaker and explosive guy, and he's getting his feet under him. Next week, we have the Giants, then we have a bye. Then after that, we have our crazy run, which I'm going to get into a little bit here. And so I think he's going to be, his feet under him. He did have a touchdown. I'm proud of Jalen Reagor. I think it was a hell of a pick, and I think he's going to show that. Travis Fulgham, he's been dominating. He had another touchdown, over 75 yards. He's doing his thing, honestly, and he's really becoming a true number one. And just like how Greg Ward, he performed, he earned his spot on this team. I think, we just had a bad offensive game. I do think Greg Ward, he has he dropped a couple passes, especially, one on third down, but I do think he's still a very, very good receiver. And Travis Fulgham's in that same situation right now. You ball out, you earn yourself on the spot, and please stay. Please don't leave, because I feel like we have, our team for the future. Defense. The defense has won us the game. Dallas scored no touchdowns. Why? Because of his defense. Brandon Graham, forcing fumbles. Ronnie McLeod forcing fumbles. What a performance by this defense. 4 total sacks. Could have been more. Had a ton of QB hits. Had 7 QB hits. Like I said, Brandon Graham played great. The whole defensive line played great. But if you had to ask me who's the MVP of this defense, right now in my mind, I'm giving it to TJ Edwards. The defense in general gets the game ball, but I think TJ Edwards balled out. He's our run stopper. He did a hell of a job. He got a sack. He got some QB hits in. I think he played great. So shout out to TJ Edwards, man. Shout out to the defense in general. I don't care if they have a third string quarterback. You have 3 very, very good wide receivers, a good tight end, and a good running back. So I don't want to hear no excuses when you have all those weapons still. Regardless, you have to be a good QB. You do not have to be a good QB. Well, you have to show some type of, good attributes to get into the NFL, I will say, and be a quarterback. And I don't think Ben DiNucci had a terrible game. I don't think it's all on him why they lost. You look at my great defensive line going against their offensive line. This is what I'm going to say about the injuries. If the Dallas Cowboys can use them, then it shouldn't be a problem when the Eagles use them. Because at the end of the day, both teams are equally as injured. You cannot say your team, you're more affected by injuries. You're going to say, oh, your quarterback. But my quarterback played like trash. If you want to be honest, both quarterbacks were trash. So don't say, but we have a third string quarterback. Your quarterback had more yards than my quarterback. You know what I'm saying? So, your quarterback passed the bar, had more completions than my quarterback. So don't really sit up here and tell me that, the third string this, third string that. Because I love Carson Wentz, but he played terrible today. Yes, he had 2 touchdowns, but he played terrible. So you look at really who won the game, it was the defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. So yes, the Eagles now are number 1 in the division. Yes, I am happy. But when I look at this win, win is a win regardless. And I just to say another thing. How is it when the Eagles win, oh, but they're going against Dallas? It was an ugly win though. But isn't a win a win? Pittsburgh Steelers got an ugly win against the Ravens. It's a division game still at the end of the day. So it's going to be ugly. The Steelers played on the offensive end trash against the Ravens. The Ravens dominated them. The Ravens lost the game, not the Steelers winning it. Lamar Jackson had like 3 or 4 turnovers, all on him, gave them a great field position. But because, it's 2 top teams or whatever, and it's the Steelers and the Ravens, they're allowed to have ugly games because, they're good. Both these teams are injured. We all knew it was going to be an ugly game. Fully healthy, this would have been the best game today if both teams were fully healthy at every single position, by far. But both teams are injured. So, yes, it's going to be an ugly game. It's not like both teams are full strength playing as bad as they are. No team is close to being at full strength. So, yes, the Eagles got an ugly victory, but a W is a W, especially in a division game. So, don't, sit up here and say, well, the way they won, a W is a W, like I said. Number 1 in the division is number one in the division, like I said. So I don't really care for your what ifs and this, that, and the third. Because when I try to say those same thing, it all gets shot down. They all say, no, you cannot say that. No excuses. No, no, no. So I'm not here for none of this. Now, I apologize. We have the bye week after this game. I was saying that after the Giants game is after this. So week 9, we're on a bye. So what does that mean? We do not play until November 15th. So what does that, do? 13 days until we play? How does that help this Eagles team? For starters, hopefully we get some more players. Hopefully Miles Sanders can come back healthy so we can really establish this running game. Hopefully, all the corners, they get healthy. I look at the receivers. I'm pretty sure D-Jack is out for the year, but hopefully Alshon can come back. Ertz can get into the mix. Hopefully Samalu can get into the mix. I know Brooks is out for the year, and Lane Johnson as well. Lane Johnson's a late scratch. So if we can start to get healthy, we go against the Giants November 15th. That's a dub. Then we have the Cleveland Browns who lost, who lost on Sunday. You're seeing this video on Monday. But they lost on Sunday, and I don't, if you can stop the run against the Browns, you have a very, very good chance. We have a very, very good run defense. But I will say this, when teams start, doing read options and booting, that's the only way they beat us. But you talking about pure running backs against our D-line, we stopped that. So that's a team we can beat. November 20, the Giants, November 15th. The 22nd, we have the Cleveland Browns. Then we have Monday, Seattle. Man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Listen, this is going to be a close game. Everybody knows Seattle defense hasn't been able to stop anything. It's going to be a toss-up. Y'all don't go on my Eagles, but I will say this, though. Seahawks been playing well. Wouldn't be surprised if somebody, any argument saying the Seahawks will win. And as it stands right now, they probably do have the edge, but we're just going to have to wait and see. That's not until November 30th. It's when you're seeing this is November 2nd, 28 days, for 4 weeks till that game happens. We don't know how these teams are going to look. You have the Green Bay Packers. As of right now, the Green Bay Packers defense is questionable. They lost to the Vikings, a game they should not have lost. Dalvin Cook dominated. What's that showing me is that if a team can establish the run, that they can win. So, and we beat them last year with not as good of a roster. Who knows how that's going to be? Then you have New Orleans. I will say this. The defense is, the defense dominated against the Chicago Bears, 5 sacks. But they're always in close games. So if you play a very, very good game against the Saints, it's going to come down to the end of possessions. Can your quarterback make a play? Can your defense get a stop? That's how the Saints are right now. And I understand they're playing without Michael Thomas. I understand they play without Emmanuel Sanders. But, that's how they played the first week, too. So that's how I look at the Saints right now. A fourth quarter, it's going to come down to the fourth quarter against the Saints. Then you have the Cardinals, a very, very good offensive team. You get after Kyler Murray because they don't have the best D-line. You're in good shape. You're able to, score because they don't have a good defense. You're in shape. So that's going to be a good game. That game is December 20th. The Green Bay game is December 6th. And the New Orleans is December 13th. Then we have Dallas again in Week 16, December 27th. Listen, that's in a couple months, Both teams are going to be, looking to be healthy. And by that time, I think this is what the division is going to come down to. It's going to come down to that game. It's going to come down to the next game. They both play division rivals. I'm pretty sure Dallas goes against the Giants and the Eagles have the Washington football team. So I said all that to say I'm not going to dive into these games. But, I said all that to say the way we beat Dallas today, it was ugly. A W's a W. But that's not going to work against teams like Seattle. It's not going to work against teams like Green Bay, New Orleans. It's honestly not going to work against a team like Arizona. I said all that to say the Eagles need to improve. I said all that to say Carson Wentz has to become a better quarterback. He cannot have all those turnovers and think we're going to beat a very, very good team, especially these championship contending teams. I said all that to say we need to get healthy to be competitive. I said all that to say I still believe in my Philadelphia Eagles. I do. The only consistent so far I've seen this year is Carson Wentz inconsistency. The only consistency I've seen from this team is the fact that we keep getting injured. We've yet to see this team fully healthy. So until I see them being beat like that, I'm still going to have faith when they get healthy. I'm not going to, all of a sudden not have faith when I've been saying all year, once we're healthy, we're a very good ball club. No, I still believe that. But it's really going to come down to, can Wentz be a consistent quarterback? Honestly. Is Wentz going to be able to, stop forcing everything? So hopefully when he gets, I don't even know what the hopefully is. Honestly, it's not even about weapons at this point. Hopefully when we get our offensive line healthy, he can be better. But at the end of the day, just to, relay back, to wrap this up, we dominated the Dallas Cowboys. No excuses from the Dallas Cowboys. Don't want to hear it. 23-9, pure domination on the defensive end. The offense, we scored 2 touchdowns. Their offense didn't. Don't tell me anything about a third-string QB when my QB play like trash. Don't tell me anything about a third-string QB when we're after them all night. Don't tell me anything about your offensive line being hurt, because so is mine. Don't say anything about your defense, because your defense has been trash all year. And it's not because of injuries, it's because of terrible coaching decision and just letting go all your good players. So don't tell me about anything. I don't want to hear no excuses. It was a division matchup. Division rivals going against each other. Whatever team wanted it more was going to win this ball game at the end. The Eagles wanted it more. Eagles are a better squad. And at the end of the day, fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. I will say thank you, everybody, for watching this, reaction, post-game show, to this Dallas Cowboys Philadelphia Eagles game. Philadelphia Eagles, they do need to improve moving forward. But, having a, 2-game lead on this division, going against the Giants, in Week 10, is all pointing upwards for this ball club. You look at Dallas, they go against the Steelers next week. That's an L. We all know that. So shout out, to the Eagles players for doing y'all thing, man. At the end of the day, yes, Carson Wentz has to play better, but I'm still putting on it's still walk him down once. Faith in Wentz, it was never going to change. So thank you all for watching this show, watching the pregame prediction show. Stay tuned. This week I have a lot of things coming out. I'm having my reaction on Tuesday, after voting. Everybody go vote. Let me just say that first of all. Everybody go vote. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm going to tell you to educate yourself and, educate yourself and vote on who you think is better, not only for you, but to run this entire country. Whoever you feel like that's the best choice, just go vote. Don't silence yourself by not voting. Use, your constitutional right and go express yourself and who you want to run this country and go vote. Everybody go do that. For me, voting on is, when you're seeing this tomorrow on Tuesday, my school was gracious enough to, cancel classes to make sure everybody, can go out there and vote. They, can't say we have class or anything to giving us time to vote. So I'm thankful to, my HBCU and my teachers, Lincoln University, for doing that. Everybody go vote. But yeah, you're going to see my reaction because the trade deadline is, Tuesday. You're going to see my reaction to a lot of trades going down. Which team is going to make trades? You're going to see some, you're going to see my predictions, my recaps for this week. You're going to see some NBA things this week. I have my Cleveland Cavalier legend, LeBron James, GOAT, video coming out soon. He's a legend on every team he's played for. I have my Sixers video coming out soon. Honestly, it might be the same day you're seeing this. We're just going to wait and see, but that's coming out soon. And then, my podcast, Sports Talk with Chris. I have my recap for all the games. That's going to be out on my audio platform. I have Wednesday weekly rants every Wednesday. That's going to be on my audio platform. I have some NBA things I'm going to talk about, also going to be on the audio platform. So make sure you go. Links will be in the description for Apple, for Spotify, for Google Podcasts, and links for all my social medias, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, also going to be in the description. I just want to say thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you all for the support. Have a great day, and peace out.
Fly, Eagles, fly, on the road to victory.